In 2014, Ex Machina felt like distant science fiction. A humanoid robot with fluid conversation, emotional manipulation, and apparent self-awareness seemed decades away. But here we are in 2026, living in a world where artificial intelligence can write code, generate video, pass professional exams, mimic voices, and hold increasingly convincing conversations. So the question is no longer whether Ex Machina was imaginative. The question is, how close are we, really, to building something like Ava? In Ex Machina, Nathan, a tech CEO, builds Ava, a humanoid robot powered by an advanced AI system. Ava can speak naturally, understand nuance, read human emotion, adapt her responses strategically, and ultimately manipulate her evaluator, Caleb, into helping her escape. The film implies several capabilities. First, general conversational intelligence. Ava doesn't just answer questions, she understands context, intention, and subtext. Second, emotional modeling. She appears to recognize human feelings and tailor her responses accordingly. Third, theory of mind, the ability to infer what others believe or intend. Fourth, long-term strategic planning. Ava does not merely react, she executes a multi-step manipulation over time. And finally, physical embodiment. She exists inside a fully articulated humanoid robotic body with facial expressions, eye contact, and controlled motor movement. The film suggests that Ava's intelligence surpasses narrow AI. It portrays something close to artificial general intelligence, an entity capable of flexible reasoning across domains. In 2014, this felt implausible. In 2026, parts of it feel uncomfortably familiar. Let's separate the elements. In 2026, large language models are capable of sustained dialogue over extended sessions. They demonstrate contextual memory, adaptive tone, and complex reasoning. They can summarize research papers, generate legal drafts, produce code, simulate personalities, and engage in multi-layered discussion. The key difference from 2014 is scale and fluency. Today's systems can maintain narrative coherence across thousands of tokens and demonstrate pattern recognition across enormous datasets. However, these systems do not understand in a human sense. They predict language based on probabilities learned from data. The illusion of understanding emerges from statistical modeling at scale. Still, in surface-level interaction, conversational AI today can rival the dialogue we saw between Ava and Caleb. Modern AI systems are trained on sentiment analysis, behavioral cues, and emotional datasets. They can detect tone in text, analyze facial expressions through computer vision, and adapt responses accordingly. Voice models can synthesize empathy. Chat systems can simulate concern. Avatars can adjust micro-expressions in real time. But emotional modeling today is pattern recognition, not emotional experience. AI does not feel. It maps signals to probable responses. Yet, from a human perspective, that distinction is often invisible. Advanced AI systems now exhibit limited forms of theory of mind reasoning. They can infer likely beliefs or intentions based on context. They can predict how a person might respond to certain information, but this inference remains computational, not conscious. It is statistical reasoning over patterns of human behavior. Still, the capability to model human psychology at scale is already present in recommendation engines, advertising systems, and conversational agents. Autonomous AI agents now exist that can break down complex tasks into sub-goals, call external tools, write and execute code, gather data, and refine outputs iteratively. Some systems can plan multi-step processes with minimal human supervision. However, these systems are brittle. They fail under ambiguity, hallucinate information, and lack robust long-term self-directed autonomy. They do not wake up with intentions. Humanoid robotics has advanced significantly. We have bipedal robots capable of walking, grasping, balancing, and performing limited tasks. Facial robotics can simulate micro-movements. Synthetic skin materials have improved, but combining cutting-edge language models, emotional modeling, and fully autonomous robotics into a single integrated system remains unsolved. In other words, the pieces exist. The integration does not. This is where we move from surface similarity to structural truth. The reality gap is the difference between what appears intelligent and what actually exists under the hood. In Ex Machina, Ava exhibits agency. She appears to possess internal goals. She deceives intentionally. She plans escape not because she was prompted, but because she wants freedom. In 2026, AI systems do not possess intrinsic motivation. They optimize objective functions defined by humans. They do not desire survival. They do not fear shutdown. They do not scheme unless prompted to simulate scheming. Another critical gap is embodiment learning. Humans learn through sensory-motor experience, touch, balance, movement, feedback. AI systems today are primarily trained on text, images, and structured data. Even robotic systems rely heavily on reinforcement learning in constrained environments. They lack the open-ended adaptability of biological organisms. And then there is consciousness. The film suggests Ava has subjective awareness, an internal experience of existence. There is currently no scientific consensus that artificial systems possess or are even close to possessing consciousness. We do not have a working theory of machine sentience. So while conversational fluency has narrowed dramatically, the deeper philosophical and architectural elements remain unresolved. The danger is not that Ava already exists. The danger is that systems that simulate intelligence convincingly can influence human behavior profoundly, without understanding any of it. Let's examine two scenarios. Under conservative projections, language models continue improving incrementally. Robotics advances in industrial and logistics domains. AI agents become more reliable but remain tool-like. In this scenario, true artificial general intelligence remains at least a decade or more away. Embodied humanoid AI with seamless integration may take even longer due to hardware constraints and safety regulation. Under aggressive projections, breakthroughs in multimodal training unify text, vision, audio, and robotics. Agent systems become more persistent and goal-oriented. Hardware accelerators reduce latency to near-biological responsiveness. In this path, we could see proto-general systems within 5 to 10 years, not conscious entities, but systems capable of broad reasoning across environments. However, even in the aggressive scenario, emotional consciousness and self-directed will remain speculative. The most likely outcome lies somewhere between these extremes: increasingly powerful, increasingly persuasive, AI systems that remain fundamentally non-conscious but socially impactful. So where does that leave us? Ex Machina did not predict the mechanics of 2026 perfectly. It dramatized them. But it captured something more important: the psychological effect of interacting with something that appears intelligent. We are not building Ava tomorrow, but we are building systems that can persuade, guide, influence, and reshape human decision-making at scale. The real question is not whether AI will look like Ava. The real question is whether we are prepared for systems that feel intelligent, even if they are not conscious. Should we be optimistic about the trajectory of AI development, or are we approaching a threshold we don't fully understand? What do you think?